All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're back for like the fourth try today. We had some serious technical issues first couple times. For some reason, we've always done this on Wi-Fi, and for whatever reason today, the Wi-Fi is not cooperating. So we now have a wired connection, which is a rocket ship here at Copeland Creative. So we are on the rocket ship right now, and I'm going to check. Yeah, no latency now.
Yeah, everything looks good.
Can I see Ryder's face? Why?
No, nobody can see my face.
All right, so we got Chris Gerlach here with us, guys. We haven't started doing the actual podcast yet, but we give some folks, and since we're now like 30 minutes late, give a couple people time to get on, which I don't know how many people are going to be on in the middle of the day, but either way, we're going to do a live podcast. You can watch this back later.
Everybody in the whole country was home because there was some snow.
Well, you'd think so. There's four people watching. Nobody's commented yet, which I think we're the four people. Yeah, yeah, this is probably correct.
We weren't supposed to say that.
So let's just roll right into the podcast since we're already 30 minutes late.
Hold on, let me do an Instagram story before we do that, just for the redneck tech, so that
I've got like four emails that have came in since I started the stupid podcast. So look at Katie sent me
a bill.
What's up, folks?
Finally.
We are live on YouTube. We got Clay looking like a boxer. We got Caleb just doing boss things over there.
Yeah.
We got Chris. And this is us. So come hang out. We're going to be talking about our favorite series and films and whatever else in between. So
You lift your feet, please. Thank you.
All right. Y'all ready?
The Redneck Tech Podcast is brought to you by Diamondback Covers, the absolute best cover you could ever spend your money on. If you need an insurance policy for all the expensive gear on the back of your truck, then you need a Diamondback cover. Make the bed of your truck a vault with Diamondback.
Right here. Yeah. You want him? Yeah. Hola, brethrens. We are live. This is episode 119. This is our fourth try at getting this podcast going today. It has been an ordeal trying to figure out why we're having so much latency on the podcast, on the live stream, but we wired the connection and now we're doing great. If you guys knew how many wires are running across the floor right now, and you're not getting through this area running without falling. We're getting closer on the studio. He's coming tomorrow to do some stuff. Then we're got to do electrical. Then we got to finish it up. And then hopefully, I'm going to say in the next 2 months, I'm hoping we're going to be in there. Probably right in the middle of turkey season when nobody's here. But with that being said, for sure this summer we'll have some stuff in there and we'll get it going. But as you can tell, we've got a new face here. This is Chris Gerlach. I say that right. Gerlach, right? No, how do I say that?
Gerlach.
Dang, that's close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
It's okay. Same thing, only different.
Gerlach. Looks like Gerlach to me.
Yep, and everyone else do, so
okay, well,
I'm used to it.
I'm not wrong. So, funny story, and I'll tell my version of the story, and then I'll let Chris introduce himself. I've known Chris since you were, how old did we figure this out?
I think 10 or 11.
This is kind of, that shows my age. So, I've known him since
I haven't even heard this story.
So, since he was really little, his dad was really good friends with a guy that I've hunted in Oklahoma with for years and years. And I remember the guy's name is Lee Tickner. And hunted with Lee for, I guess, since you were 10 or 12. And I remember Lee's like, hey, I got this. You guys got to know Lee first. He's like, I got this boy. He's likes this video stuff now. I'm going to bring him over and introduce him to you. And I'm thinking like high school age kid, whatever. And then he brings Chris over there and he's this big. And I'm like, hey, little guy. And this is when I like literally first got into video. I didn't know what I was doing. I acted like I knew what I was doing, but I had no idea what I was doing. And ended up Lee filmed a hunt and you killed a pretty good deer. We need to find that hunt, by the way. I have that somewhere.
I got the DVD.
Oh yeah, I've got the DVD somewhere, but I've got the videos on my Vimeo somewhere. We'll try and find it. We'll maybe post that in the Instagram if I can find it. But anyway, I met Chris then, and then he kind of took an interest in video, and now he is now doing freelance video work and website design and a lot of other stuff in the media space, as well as he is here with us for the next 2 weeks cataloging footage. We've got a bunch of footage that we have to catalog in metadata or metatag. But I guess kind of give your version of events. Like, well, how did you get into this? What kind of got you going?
Oh, gosh. Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, kind of like you said, I grew up hunting primarily whitetail out there with my father, and him and Lee at the time were trying to the best of my knowledge, put together somewhat of like an outfitting deal.
Well, nobody ever really knows what Lee's doing, but yeah.
Well, for one reason or another, they decided that they were going to film every single hunt that was out there. So you couldn't kill anything if it was off camera. So I didn't know any better. All I knew is that all of a sudden there were 2 stands in every tree, and we were filming everything.
Yeah, and Lee did it right back in the day. Like it was legit. He was doing it right. Yeah,
it was legit. And so what ended up happening was we had all of this just massive catalog of footage, but nothing to do with it because none of us knew how to edit. That's as much as we knew.
Yeah.
And I don't know the details, but one way or another, y'all got connected. And
I met him through a friend of mine here in town named Chris Kyle, and I'm not sure how Chris met him.
Gotcha. I assume it was not the American Sniper.
No, different Chris Kyle. No, it's a guy from Dahlonega named same name, Chris Kyle. Yeah.
Cool. So, anyways, long story short, I remember because I was always into hunting and stuff growing up, and but I remember one specific memory. We were out at the cabin, and like I don't remember what hunt it was, but you showed me a video that you put together, and it was on your iPhone, and all I remember is there was like a series of clips over like a track, and text popped up at the end, and I was like, mind blown. And I was like, so all this hunting stuff is cool, like shooting bows and like that's cool. That's what I want to do. And immediately so he was actually the one who got me into the whole idea of like wanting to edit. So like later that day, like when I got home, I bootlegged my first version of Sony Vegas, and it was a whole thing, man. And it was just
downhill from there.
Downhill from there.
That's awesome. So. And you're just now recently getting into some hunting stuff. I know we've sent some stuff to you from Southern Hoggers, and you've done some stuff with Waterfowl Outfit out there, Swamp Nasty Outfitters in your area.
Yep. So whenever I graduated high school, the last few years I've done a lot of video and communication stuff in like just kind of corporate world, I guess you could say. And then last March decided I was going to take the leap into outdoors production. It's something I'd always wanted to do and just had never taken the steps to do it. And I was like, I'm going to do it. So
very cool. Made
the leap over and started building connections, and here we are. So
here we are. That's about how I feel. Here we are. Well, so for the podcast today, we did our favorite movies podcast, which in my opinion, Clay and Rye are useless for because they've never really seen anything but Top Gun, and Clay's not seen anything. So we're going to do
a blatant lie.
Kind of a different. We're going to do a little bit.
Really, just going to lie like that on?
I watched that list.
What else have you seen?
I watched
All
that
kinds
list.
Of stuff.
No, you didn't. You lie.
You didn't watch that. You revealed that to me in the truck in a very, very private moment.
Confidence.
You thought that I
confidentiality.
wasn't about to throw you under the bus, and I did.
Hard.
Yeah, because I was getting thrown under the bus.
I think you
by
threw
your
me on the
little
bus
stunt.
live.
So these two guys have not seen anything. Like, Ryer's seen 3 movies. Clay has seen half of a movie, and he fell asleep.
I know for sure that Ryer has watched the Top Gun 2 trailer at least.
Yeah.
1,000 times.
Yeah, in his bed at night alone. That's when Ryer's watched that trailer.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared to stay the night with him tonight.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Don't play that in your
noises.
room. Yeah.
You're dangerous, Maverick.
Yeah.
2 a.m. in the morning. You're
You're gonna
dangerous.
get both of us killed.
Oh, God. Anyway, so we figured we'd do a podcast. I've watched some stuff recently and seen some films and series recently that have kind of given me ideas, and I'm the quote-unquote like idea guy. I have lots of ideas. Some of them really, really suck. I feel like some of them are really good and some of them are like, could go either way. But that's kind of how I get, and I guess this is kind of almost go back into our inspiration podcast of like where we get creativity and where we get inspiration. But I wanted to kind of talk, since we've got all four of us here, we can kind of roundtable it. Some things that we have watched recently, and they can be hunting, they can be non-hunting, they can be fiction, non-fiction, I don't care. But essentially I want to talk about some things that if you've seen recently that have impacted you in some way, shape, or form. And I don't want to go first. I want somebody else to go first. Who's got a good... Don't everybody talk at once.
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead.
So I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't have cable. I don't have Netflix.
You don't have a couch, but keep going.
I don't have a couch or a TV. So I find myself watching, if it's not on YouTube, I usually don't watch it. And I'm not into Last Chance U like Ryer is, but I'm into the behind the scenes of Last Chance U. There's a gentleman that's a director of photography and a whole bunch of stuff, Shane Hurlbut. He was the director of photography on like Iron Man, Fast and Furious, We Are Marshall.
Safety.
Safety. Yep. The new Disney movie that's out or whatever.
Apparently does a lot of football movies.
Yeah. But he does a whole like behind the scenes series on YouTube of like from how he directed and set up different scenes from those movies. And he'll do it like a Monday or Tuesday. He'll post a video on how the expensive, fancy Hollywood way of doing it is. And then he'll do it the same exact scene 2 or 3 days later, but as cheap as you can possibly do it.
Yeah.
So I like a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I like the Yeti films. I know they haven't done some in a while, but
I haven't seen them if they have.
I like the Yeti films.
Whatever happened to those?
I don't know.
They quit doing them.
Need to ask Sloan what's going on.
They were really good. Like the one Sam. It's about a duck dog. I don't duck hunt, but it was a really good one. There was one about, I don't know, it's hard because now that I make hunting content, it's hard for me to watch hunting content because I know it's all, I don't want to say fake, but I know how they did everything, so there's no like, there's no surprising me.
Yeah.
I know something's going to die. I know what shots were recreated and which weren't. So I like watching a lot of behind the scenes type stuff.
Yeah, I do too. I go down rabbit holes with that kind of stuff. So what about that? What was the guy's name?
Shane Hurlbut.
Shane Hurlbut. So what was your kind of takeaway? He's like, is that trying to inspire you to do different stuff? Was it like what was the?
He almost shows like his redneck tech version of how he would do it. So like he works on Hollywood movies where he's got millions of dollars of budget, so he can go out and buy a $80,000 lighting setup and do it, and that he shows you how to do it like that, and then he also shows you. He lit an inside scene with 0 lights, and all he had was 3 mirrors.
And the sun.
And like, that's pretty redneck. Mm-hmm. So it almost applies to how we would have to do something if we had to do that.
Yeah.
Not having those giant lights that are the size of a basketball hoop.
Yeah.
And we had the sun and some shade to work with.
Which we got a big light back there. I mean, it's as big as a basketball hoop.
It's a TikTok ring light.
Yeah.
No, but it's
a little nicer than a TikTok ring light. Come on, man.
He almost does the same things that we do, where he takes Hollywood and downscales it to something that someone doing it independently could do, and then we take it from a bigger size production into someone smaller than us, how they could do it. So it's kind of like 2 levels of that. So I like that. I've learned a lot of lighting. I actually got interested in all that lighting stuff from Aaron when we were doing the Hunt Masters, because Aaron is big into lighting. Mm-hmm. And then I used to skip over all the Shane Hurlbut lighting stuff, but he does lighting, he does framing. They go into all of his past movies and talk about like why he chose a certain aspect ratio for that film, color science for that film, lens choice for that film, and like how it all sets the mood and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's not stuff that we usually get to pick. I mean, because
I watched a breakdown that he did on Joker.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Super in depth, and we would
see. But here's my thing: like I watched a couple of those. It's probably about the same time you watched them, and the reason I probably watched them because they were, I don't know, somehow targeted towards me because you subconsciously thought about it, and Google was reading your mind. But anyway, I watch those things and I like really like learning from those. But that kind of production, I have no desire to be on one of those.
And well, that we would never have the time to do it. We'd never get the budget to do it.
Budget, time. Yeah, either one of those things. But like,
or the gear.
I look at that and I see like there's 15 people on set. There's 2 guys per light. I'm like, I can't get 2 guys with cameras, much less 2 guys on a light.
They got 3 guys per camera.
Yeah.
They got a guy running it, a guy
Pulling
doing focus,
focus.
and a guy monitoring it.
Yeah.
Honestly, that seems like a lot of people around one camera. Like, that's way too close to be around.
Yeah.
Like, standing around, all operating the same camera.
But at the same time, how nice would it be to only have to worry about if it's in frame
Yeah.
and not have to worry about racking focus?
And you know what I've noticed on a lot of those like movie set type stuff is how they pan and tilt is with the wheels.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do it with handheld.
I can't remember what that thing's called. We rented one of those one time. Whatever that thing that you sit on that's got the wheels and the track. It's like stupid expensive.
I don't even know if I could do that. That would be too much.
Yeah.
It's actually not that hard.
No?
No, it's pretty intuitive. But that's how we used to shoot Lee and Tiff's interviews, was on a dolly track with one of those.
Was it the semicircle dolly track? That was.
Yeah, we shoot them in that old barn out there in Iowa. They don't do it that way anymore. But yeah, it was always a huge pain to set up the track, get it level, put that thing on there, sit down, which we used to do it with that, whatever that little deal's called. And then we just got it's literally a platform that slid. And you sit on it and somebody's running the tripod and they just track and follow as there's, so you got one guy pushing, one guy sitting on the tripod or sitting on the thing. And I was always the pusher when I got to go.
Why?
I just would push the track, like just real
Did you
simple
volunteer for the pushing, or were they
I think I only did it like once or twice because we always ended up doing it. We'd always shoot interviews and we'd go up there for their turkey hunts, and we'd always try and knock out as many shows as we could when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in between, like, whoever had killed out, those were the guys that had to go and do interviews. So everybody's like, I kind of want to make my hunt last a little bit longer, because I don't have to go actually work and just go turkey hunt. But
and here's Caleb, true blue Southern. I'm killing the first turkey I see.
Oh yeah, well, I was on Team Lee, so we always just crushed everybody. So it wasn't even fair. But I hope they listen to this because that really makes Tiffany mad. She's still mad about it. But anyway, so Ryer, what's something you've seen recently that kind of hit home? Inspire, idea.
I would say something that hit home in the most practical sense is Last Chance U. I know I keep mentioning it, and I honestly haven't watched an episode here in probably in a month or so. But
you didn't watch any of those things I sent you for you to watch?
Which ones are those?
We had a text conversation about this, and I sent you some things to watch. I'm pretty sure.
You have to remind me.
Well, they're my examples, so I don't want to ruin my examples.
Oh.
All the things.
Still don't remember.
Continue.
My ADHD lately has been pretty out of
control. See if I can find the text.
And I've had so many like different
Or we might have
inputs.
talked on the phone. I don't remember.
Yeah, I have so many inputs into my brain right now that I'm having a hard time like remembering things like that. But I'm sure once you remind me, I'll remember it. But basically, Last Chance U for me was a look into basically doing a very high budget, very personal docuseries.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big fan of docuseries, and especially after working on Blue Stem, I really fell in love with that type of production and that process. And so I'm always looking at how people take and do really high production quality stuff in more or less uncontrollable environments. And Last Chance U is a really, really good example of just taking a concept and really having this series that has a big, huge top-down level look at what you think is going to be about a football team. You think it's going to be about a school and about a football team. but it ends up being about all of these individuals and some really, really cool stories, and a look into the lives of these guys who are trying to make it, usually out of some undesirable life situations, into a college. I mean, they're not even looking at trying to get into the NFL. I mean, a lot of them obviously probably have goals of that, but for them, it's like, hey, I just want to get D1. I just want a school to pick me up and pay for school. Like, I just want to play ball for a D1 school or whatever it is. And so basically you've got this crew of guys who's embedded with a community college football program. And their job is to tell the stories of that program, of the coach of that program, and follow the stories and the lives and the emotions of these individuals over the course of an entire season. And so it's just so cool how they are able to do all of those things and maintain a level of production value that's incredibly high.
Yeah.
And I've just was, and the simplicity of it is, I think, what really struck me, because
how many cameras you think you're shooting at?
I mean, there's a decent amount of camera. When I was watching some breakdowns or reading some articles on how they shot it, on game days, because usually every episode culminates in that week's game, and every episode is framed like it's from the start of the practice week up until that game, maybe a little bit after. Now, I don't know if they're super true to that timeline-wise as far as all of the personal stuff that surrounds that, because with every episode they have a game, but they almost focus in on one of the players.
Yeah, well, I was going to say one or two of them for sure.
One or two of them per episode, and really like dive into that individual story, and they go and interview people who are related to that individual. They follow them around the school. They follow them at practice. And so I don't know how much of that maybe they pull from like other parts of the season, but they do it really well, so you'd never tell.
Yeah.
What was the question?
How many cameras?
Okay, so what I was reading was that, yeah, I go on rabbit trails all the time. Sorry, guys. Is that they at practices they would have a couple of camera guys, and they said, and something that kind of struck me is their cameramen operate a lot like we do in the field. So usually on, I guess, a documentary production, you've got a camera guy and you've got a producer and maybe a sound person, and the camera guy is really trying to capture what the producer is being like, hey, get a shot of this, do this, do this, do this. And on this, they said that in order for the cameras to have access to these guys in their dorms, in the class, in all their meetings, at home, going wherever they go, in their car, like they just couldn't have a crew like that follow these guys. So the camera guys were really field producers. They're doing kind of the same thing that we do. It's them, the camera, their subject, and their job is to capture that individual and try to capture their story and tell their story and get the pieces they need to really make an impactful story.
To me, the coolest part of that, and I think we talked about this, and we might have talked about this on another podcast, is how they made the conscious choice to choose a wide lens or a wider, shorter lens.
Yeah.
That way they actually had to physically be close to everybody.
Yeah.
And I love that aspect of it. I just like the back end thinking on that. I watched the Joker, the breakdown on Joker of like how they shot, and I didn't notice it subconsciously. I guess I did, how they shot Joker. In the beginning of the movie, they shot him with way too much headroom a lot of times and made him feel small. And then as he progresses into himself, they go from wider to medium to tighter to where at the end of the movie, when he's found himself and he's confident and he's like perfectly framed, walking high speed center frame, like he's center of attention. He's, and that was really cool to me to be able to break that, to subconsciously see that. And
that's the stuff that I like.
Yeah.
That like most people that watch our stuff or anybody else's stuff won't get.
Yeah, but you don't like watching movies. how do you like that stuff if you don't like watching movies?
Because I find myself doing what you just talked about, breaking that stuff down in the movie versus actually enjoying.
Yeah, but I
the movie.
enjoy the movie by breaking it down. All right, Chris, your turn.
Wait, I had more.
Oh. Sorry.
Anyways, all that was to say that with your camera question is they would have probably a couple cameras covering practice, and then they'd roam around with the guys. But on game days, they had a few extra staged around the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So game days were a big, huge production.
Yeah.
Game day, the one that I watched, game day, they said specifically one in each end zone on the field.
They had a roaming guy on the sideline.
They had two, the one that I said they always had two guys on the sideline.
And one
then
guy in
they
the
had
stands,
one
right?
guy in the stands, but they said the two guys on the sideline, they kind of did it how you guys did Blue Stem. Each guy was in charge of getting something separate. That way they didn't have
Same thing.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Like whichever player was mic'd up or
We're
whatever.
such geniuses.
Whichever player was mic'd up, they had one guy on that mic'd up person the entire time.
Yeah.
And then the other person was
Well,
in
see,
charge of
and it
whatever.
goes back to like you were just talking about, like the stuff that nobody gets. Like think about all the, and I know we've beat Blue Stem to death, but think about all the planning and all the subconscious stuff that we tried to put into Blue Stem that 98% of people didn't notice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's
Breaks my heart a little bit. Just a
breaks
little bit.
my heart.
Well, just think about how many
Almost
people
cried.
watch Joker that
They'll never know.
never know.
They're just like, oh, that was a cool
That was a
movie.
real good movie, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Maybe.
solid.
Maybe.
I didn't like it as good as Talladega Nights, so Will Ferrell's funny.
NASCAR.
NASCAR.
So, I looked up the article that I sent to you just so I could read about the lens choice.
Yeah.
Because I think it's interesting. So, this is a direct quote. It's from a Premium Beat article. Just you guys can look it up. Premium Beat /blog/interview -last -chance -you whatever. So, this guy says, for my camera, we decided to shoot with only a Cook Pantro 18mm prime for all the games, sideline coverages, and a lot of practices. It was a bold choice in a sense. If you need a close-up of that person, the only way for me to get that is to get right up close to them, to be completely involved. That wide focal length in documentary is rare because it's safer for the operator to be further away on a zoom lens. It was very important for us to create some rules and say, quote, we're going to stick to our wide lens and we're going right in next to them and we're going to get the camera involved with these people and this world, end quote. Greg being confident upholding these kind of bold choices helps make something unique and beautiful. We used a Fuji 19-90 lens for game cameras and our long shots. We had operators on a Fuji Premiere 75-400mm with doublers to get as comfortably tight as we legally could in a game without losing too much light.
Legally.
Well, like they can't be on the field,
Oh.
you know.
Okay.
But basically,
Legally. What
I think
legalities would they?
I think it's
Whatever.
cool to see that personally
So
because
it's an 18mm prime?
18mm.
Dang, that's
prime.
wider than I thought it would be.
Yeah, and I think
They're probably shooting on. What are they shooting on though?
FX6s.
Really?
Were they shooting on FX6s?
some FX6s. It says here in this particular article,
I'm sure it's
Um,
4K though. So they
it
can
said
tell
our
you
main
what
camera
it's
was
in.
the Sony F55, and then we used the Sony FS7 for tight locations, and even an A7S for some emergencies.
Mm.
I'm sure there was a lot of 4K, so that 18 is not really.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
they're also using
Yeah.
a RAW recorder
Yeah.
and all that.
So it's cropped down.
So I guess the one more thing that I got from that series, and this was your guys' mistake for allowing me to talk about these things, because you know what would happen, is the location shots. And
Yeah.
that's something that I physically brought to the shoots after I watched this series. And I think for two reasons, because I'd always kind of known, hey, you got to get location shots. But like I would just do a drone, or it would have to be like this big, beautiful shot, right?
Mhm.
And I started looking at kind of the location shots they were using. And I mean, they were just locked down, wide stills of locations. And you look at them, and there's really not a lot special. It doesn't jump off the screen as like this beautiful location.
It's not
image.
a Game of
There's
Thrones.
No, like,
It's not a Game of Thrones establishing shot.
yeah, there's not like movement. It's not from a helicopter. It's just a shot of like what you would see
Yeah.
if you stood in the parking lot and looked at that building.
Yeah.
And then they would get a couple of other shots, and to me, I just looked at all those, and you go, well, together they're really not very special.
Mm-hmm.
Like they seem very average. but the simplicity of them and their ability to bring you into that environment like you're there, right? It's not like some big, huge art statement. It's, this is where you're at. Here's a couple things to really cement that idea, to cement the feeling of this place in your head. Boom, now we're in here.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And it was just so simple. And so I started taking that and trying to make sure that when I'm on location, I get shots like that, that do that job. And they don't have to be this big, huge production, but they are beautiful in their simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
And they allow you to get your viewer into somewhere both visually and emotionally. And I think that they do a really good job of that.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Chris?
So that made me think of like not to bring up like two football shows, coincidentally, but like so Friday Night Lights.
Mm-hmm.
That I remember watching it even before I was like really heavy into trying to learn cinematography, and it intrigued me because in the same way it wasn't like big flashy like establishing shots or anything like that. Like it'd be like a legit, because it was set in like West Texas.
Yeah.
And so you get like, which if you ever driven through small towns in West Texas, like there's definitely a vibe. It's like, no offense, Texan town, but it's like ran down, like dusty, kind of cracked up parking lots, and like, anyways. So you
Just
watch
sun
the
beaten.
show.
The whole place is sun beaten. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you watch the show and you're like, so kind of in the same thing. It's like, this isn't like if you said go out and collect a series of like of powerful shots. These aren't the shots that would come to your mind. But in the context of what you're shooting, it's like actually extremely powerful.
Yeah.
To your point. It's like, well, so the shots that, as much as we want to go out and grab these like stunning shots, like landscapes and things of that nature, how much more powerful is it when you actually grab the shots that serve the story in the context of the story rather than just something that's like really beautiful.
They're more emotionally powerful than they are visually powerful.
Right. And that's what, and so on that note, you mentioned something earlier about like first on the Blue Stem project, but also you like referenced the Joker, that nobody will ever notice how they went from wide frame in the beginning of the movie to like tight at the end of it. And it's like, well, no, the majority of cinematographers or non-cinematographers will never notice that. But because of those shots that nobody will ever like consciously notice, it gave them a feeling that impacted how they felt during it at the end of the movie, which made them think of the movie as like good, like the movie impacted them. So it's like directly those shots don't impact people, but if they hadn't have put the effort into shooting it that way and doing the things that most people will never like straight up notice, then it wouldn't have been the film that impacted people the way that it did. So it's like a double-edged sword.
They did it so seamlessly that people don't notice, but you don't understand why you feel different. You just know you feel different.
Yeah.
And I think that also goes back to like our editing conversation that we had the other day. I mean, sometimes, a lot of the times in a very solid piece, the editing is nearly invisible to most people.
Yeah, it should be.
You don't know that, like, did it get edited? Most people don't even know.
Yeah.
And that's the point. And I think that a really solid piece affects an audience
But the only
without them knowing that it affected them.
But the only way an edit can look like that is if it was shot extremely well.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't care. You can get the best editor that's ever walked this earth and hand him crap footage, and you're going to get a crap product. It just doesn't matter how good the editor is. A good editor can take great footage and make it better, but he has to start with great footage.
Yeah.
So, but I guess I'll go into mine and I'll let Chris go last, because I was listening to So I watched.
I have no idea where this
What
is
just
going.
happened? I think our thing just died. I think our live stream just died. Did the batteries die?
It was full when I turned it on.
Is it not plugged in?
It's plugged in. Well, you keep going. I'll check.
So anyway, I I watched a couple movies and Netflix series and stuff over the last couple months that completely they broke a lot of rules for everything I've ever really watched before. The first one was called The Dig. Do you remember me sending you that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, now I do.
Did you watch that?
No. It's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
We will watch it since.
So I don't even really know. I don't even really know how to explain The Dig.
Would you like me to look up a plot?
Well, it's not that. It's not that. I can't explain how it was on the cinematography side and the storytelling side. I know what it's about. It's about an ancient ship that they recovered in England.
On the eve of World War II, a British widow hires a self-taught archaeologist to dig up mysterious formations on her land, leading to a staggering find.
Yeah, so
there you go.
That's the plot. Virtually they found an old ship in England, but the way it's super hard to explain. But I want to watch it again, just because I didn't fully grasp it the first time. The storyline's not out of this world different, but so the best way I can explain it, and you're gonna have to watch it in order to be able to really grasp the breadth and depth of how different it was. But so think about it this way. So you're watching a movie or you're watching a scene and there are two people carrying on a conversation. Usually when two people are carrying on a conversation, especially in what we do, the only relevant footage is about what they're talking about or them themselves. So like me, like you could get shots of my hands moving or tights of my boots. You could do things like that, but they're relevant to the scene. Well, in this movie, they'd be in the middle of a dialogue and the story would continue past their dialogue and they'd still be talking. And the story has already moved on. And it was like, I'd sit there and watch it and be like, hold on, I watched it thinking that the edit was wrong. Like that they exported the wrong version of the movie. Thinking that, hold on, something is really wrong here. It was hard for you to continue to follow the dialogue because the story either went too long over the dialogue or the dialogue went too long under the story. And I can't even explain it, but I've never seen a piece done like it before. And it really made me kind of step back and it's like, okay, how can I break rules in editing that would be relevant to what I'm doing? Because in my notes for this podcast, I'm like, how many times can we watch a deer get shot with a bow? And how many different ways can we do that? And there's really not very many different ways we can do it.
Shane Hurlbutt did one of those breakdowns on how he broke like that 180-degree rule during like an action scene that I sent Ryer because I knew he would like it.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, like a guy running down the street and you're supposed to keep him like on the same third or facing the same way or whatever, and like to add that more chaotic type feel to it. Yeah.
The 180. So I just learned this. Like, it made sense to me, but
hey, we're back.
There you go.
I just learned the term like a couple months ago. I didn't know that there was like a rule for it. But like, so the 180-degree rule is that anytime that you switch camera angles, you should do it. And we're talking about the same thing?
Yeah, within 180-degree plane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like, but there's certain rules that are broken all the time. It's like generally the only time you set aside center frame is for news.
Yep.
You know, most of the time, the only time you see somebody center frame is on the news.
That, or if you want them to feel alone, you can do it that too.
Yeah, or you can face them outside the frame, looking into the side of the frame instead of into the open part of the frame.
Yep.
Like there's lots of unwritten rules. Hey, what was wrong with it? What was wrong?
There was, I think, somehow the weight of one of the cords pulled one of the connections off the table, and it just got dislodged just a tiny bit. So I just had to run through all the connections and loosen and tighten them until I found it.
There we go. We're back, everybody. We're back, Travis. Sorry. Anyway.
Also, if you guys are watching live, want to hear about your favorite stuff too, so put it in there.
So The Dig was one that I suggest you go watch. In terms of shot extremely well. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. Really, really, really well done. The other one, and I don't want to give away too much because this piece that I watched, and its name is called The Midnight Sky. Overall, visually was great. Not a huge fan of the film, but it's on Netflix. But that series or that movie gave me an idea that I literally called. Who did I call? You?
Me.
Called Ryer going down the road, and I was like, I have a film idea, and we're gonna do it. We've already set it in motion. That we're gonna do this spring, but it's gonna be really cool, really simple, and it's gonna be really different from other hunting films because you guys know how I feel about hunting films. I think they all suck for the most part. I mean, they're pretty, but they're not films. They're glorified web episodes. They're not films. So we're going to try and make a true blue short film that is worthy of the name film. That's what we're going to try and do. If it's not worthy of the name film when we're done, I'll be the first to tell you that. Did I say what you thought I was going to say?
No.
Okay, good. What do you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to dive into the like Suits and all that stuff that you like to watch.
We can. Because was it Suits that you liked? What was the one that
I've
me and
never
you
seen Suits.
What was the one that me and you liked that we were talking about the other day?
Like FBI shows, White Collar.
White Collar.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen White Collar in a while. But
I thought you were going to dive into Suits and Yellowstone because you always talk about the different character developments throughout Yellowstone inside of the story. So
go ahead.
That's all I know about it. I've never watched it.
Yeah, Yellowstone?
Yeah. So
Man, you're missing out.
I just know what you rave about. So.
Oh, it's so freaking good. Everything about it is good. But more than anything, like, if we talk about character development, everything we talk about, in terms of hunting and what we get to do, we don't get to develop characters.
And if it's not a person, it's an animal.
Yeah. And then we're just scratching the surface. We can only, what we observe.
There's no emotional
and
development.
You can't really form it because if you do, then it's not them. It's like
really,
persona,
yeah. And really the only way you can develop a character is if you're with them in every aspect of what they do. And generally when we're doing a hunting show, we're hunting. We don't get to we're doing something that involves the act of hunting, whether that's food plots or hanging stands or actually the act of hunting, or maybe even a little bit of the training and shooting. But in terms of developing a whole character, I would love to do that. And you can do things that are documentary style where they're very interview driven, but in order to do a film, I think it has to be a character, aka an actor or somebody playing a role. And to me, that's what's lacking in hunting films. They're not films. They're, like I said, glorified web episodes that all look the same for the most part. There's a couple that stand out as not looking the same, but for the most part they do. And that's why we've never done one, because I've never had, in my opinion, the opportunity, the time, or the budget to do what I would consider a film until now. So we're going to try and, knock on wood, get to do it. But there was another piece. Do you remember what the other thing that I sent you? There was two different things I sent you. The dig and something else. Oh.
Just now?
No.
When
the
you
other
sent me the
so
thing
the other
day?
one that I watched recently was A Gentleman and a Madman.
Oh yeah.
And it was set in like the 17 or 1800s, but it was just literally couldn't find anything to watch. And it was about the creation of the first dictionary, the first what was the
Oxford English.
Oxford English Dictionary. So it was essentially telling the story of how that dictionary got started and how they developed it, and it took like 70 something years to do. But in terms of that one, like, character development's good, acting's incredible, cinematography's awesome. But there was one more that I wanted to talk about. I can't remember what it was.
I'll throw in another one.
The dig was the main one. Go ahead.
It was 1911. That whole
1917.
1917
Yeah.
movie. I thought the movie, in my opinion, wasn't as great as what people raved it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
That's the one-shot one, right?
yeah,
I agree.
I watched the 45-minute behind the scenes of it. Thought that was I was more
That was more impressive than
yeah,
the movie.
more impressive than the movie. I don't think. I mean, the storyline in the movie was good, but
Oh, when dude gets killed, like his buddy gets killed right there at the beginning, I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
yeah,
Have you not seen it?
Oh yeah, I saw it.
yeah.
Oh, I thought you looked
Yeah.
at me like I was like hashtag spoilers.
My thing with that movie,
It's like you're like, what? Somebody gets what?
It could have been a way better war movie if they weren't focused on making it a one-shot movie.
Yeah, that's like talking
Well,
about Game of Thrones
yeah.
season as it's doing. It's like no, la, 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 la.
to me, that movie was weird because, like, one, it was incredibly predictable. Like, I knew what was going on. I knew what was about
Well,
to happen.
almost all movies, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but that one was like
That's why I'm so
that one
excited
was-
about our film because you don't know.
that one. But that movie, like, I knew it was going to happen, and I wasn't like, you know how in a lot of movies you have a little bit of doubt whether or not the character is going to achieve what it is they're trying to achieve, right? Or
'Cause
like,
it
is
can
this
go
guy
either
going to
way.
die? Like in a good war movie, I should not be able to know whether or not that character is going to die. I should be fearing for that character's life, right? That one wasn't scared a bit. As soon as they killed his friend, I knew he was going to make it through the whole movie.
Yeah.
Well,
Because what else would he do?
Yeah.
well, that
What
If
else
he gets
would he
killed,
do?
what's the camera guy do? He's like, oh, what do I do now, guys?
Well,
Yeah, what
that
else
and
is
Back on
because
himself.
it's,
All right, guys, we're here.
that and it's historically accurate. So if you do any
Yeah.
research about it and you know the story behind it, you know he gets there. So
Which is fine. I mean, I watch a lot of things. Like,
Right.
you already know that.
right.
So the other
Titanic.
thing with
Here's the thing.
here's
I got
the
a
other
I got a
thing with
question.
me. Hold on. The other thing with me is
You'll forget. You won't.
I know.
Go ahead.
The other thing is it felt too coincidental. There was so many, and it has to because it's a one shot. So I know, like, it just felt coincidental. There were so many things that happened. I was like, come on. Really?
I'm just thinking
It's
of that.
perfect. It's literally perfect.
Middle of
that
nowhere.
it happened right here.
Yeah.
No.
I'm literally thinking the whole time, knowing it's a one shot going in, thinking of that guy running that Steadicam, praying to God the actor doesn't screw up because he's got to start all over
It's
again.
not actually a one shot.
I know, but
Oh,
for
yeah.
They
the
would have like 12-minute sequences.
whatever, yeah, but 12-minute sequence to start
Yeah.
all over again.
Yeah.
God Almighty!
And I was watching
All
like
right, everybody get back in position. We're doing it again.
he said there were days they'd go and get set up and build everything, and then the lighting wouldn't match, and like they just wouldn't do anything at all that day. Or they would have enough explosive setups to do the shot one time, and then if it was messed up, it would take like a whole entire day to relay everything to do it.
I need to watch some of that behind.
I'd like to
the
know what it's like a 45-minute behind the scenes. I want to know what that budget was though.
There's ways to look at it up. There's lots of places you can look up budgets for films and stuff,
I
but
think if you just Google it, I think it doesn't it give you on most films the budget.
most of the time, yeah,
I'd like
Yeah.
to know just because of how many like wasted days there were, knowing that
yeah.
going into that type of style, you're gonna have wasted days. I'd like to know what. I'm sure one of you two will find it.
So Chris, what was your deal?
Oh gosh, I can't even actually remember what the question was. Give it to me one more time.
What's something you watched recently that inspired you
Something I watched recently.
or that impacted you in some way?
Okay. Gosh, I actually haven't watched anything in so long.
You haven't watched anything in so long?
No, man, I haven't. So I'll say this. I'm gonna take it like a turn, or like a weird turn. So I'm not much for like.
Heck yes.
I'm not.
Weird turns like 'em.
I have a question for you. Don't let me forget at the end.
Well, so because everybody's talking about like films and documentaries and things like that, so I'm gonna take like a weird angle at this. So I don't watch many YouTubers or personalities. I don't really keep up with them.
Me either.
So
Only Clay does that.
Don't
That's
watch
not true,
personalities.
Clay. I'll come to your defense. I watch all the nerdy film reviews and like psychological breakdowns of film techniques.
But have you seen the films?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
Have you seen the films? Just because I didn't watch your select 10 films that you like.
You've never seen a good movie in your life.
Whatever.
Go ahead.
We won't do
gosh.
this now.
anyways, yeah. So I was looking through different like gear stuff on YouTube because I've recently like been trying to figure out. I was ready to upgrade gear. I thought. And was trying to figure out like exactly what I wanted to get. So of course I go through like a rabbit hole of videos reviewing different gear and things that I'm looking at. And I land on this guy's YouTube channel called Daniel Schiffer, who's apparently a really big YouTuber. Anyways, So it's this guy he's a freelance videographer, or I think he's a freelancer. He has his own small production company, and he shoots bits for like huge brands like Monster Energy drink, and he shot some like a bunch of cereal brands and stuff like that. He's doing commercial work for really, really big brands, and he's really successful at it.
I guess these people are just building in time to do these things, and they're like, when do these people have time to do these things?
And he shoots everything. And I was watching all of his commercials, and I was like, these are phenomenal. Like, what is he shooting on? And he's shooting everything in his house with like an Aperture 120D and an A7 III. And it was stuff that like he's getting hired by these massive Fortune 500 companies to shoot clips for. And I'm like, it was a real gut punch for me, because I'm like, here I am thinking that I need to like drop $6,000 on a new camera body and, $15,000 on lenses or whatever, just.
I would venture to guess he's not shooting everything on that.
Pretty much everything, because he also goes back and shows. He does kind of like behind the scenes and tutorials showing how he shot that stuff, and that's kind of how he's like gotten big on YouTube, is because he's like I guess an educator showing people how to make videos. I guess kind of how like Peter McKinnon is, but just like a little bit different niche. But no, he'll go back and like he'll actually do behind the scenes of him shooting all of this stuff, and like shows him setting up the aquarium with like all the stuff in it, and like how he lights it and sets up the camera and like actually drops the stuff in it. And
like stuff like that. Oh, okay, yeah, you can shoot all that on A7 III.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's all like product. It's all like product video. And anyways, the gut punch for me was like, the classic, like, is it the gear or is it the person?
Oh, it's definitely the person.
And that was my thing, is like, because I'm like, I get in my own little bubble. I work with myself all the time, and I'm not around other videographers very much at all. So, and the area that I'm at isn't very saturated, which I don't know. Like, it's not very saturated with other videographers. So
it isn't here either.
There's not a lot of collaboration. So
They're
find
in this
yourself
room.
Exactly. So you find yourself sealed off. And anyways, so watching stuff like that, it's like a wake up. It's like you really don't need as much as what you think you do. What you need to do is actually like get out and make videos.
Yeah.
And get experience and learn.
Oh, 100%.
So it's like,
there's nothing that'll be a better teacher than going out and just doing it and screwing up and being like, why did that suck? And then trying it again for sure.
Yeah.
You haven't seen Free Solo?
No, not yet. I know I need to.
The rock climbing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I was about to watch it on the plane, but I was like, I didn't want to be able to pay attention to it.
He lives. He lives. You're still scared. That's the whole freaking time.
I caught myself sweating watching it.
Dude,
Like,
I had
legitimately sweating.
sweaty palms the entire thing. Like heart racing, sweaty palms. This guy needs a wheelbarrow for his brass balls of what he's doing.
They filmed like the videographer or cameraman, whatever you want to call
He
him.
wouldn't
Jimmy
watch.
Chin.
No, it was the assistant guy. Couldn't watch. They're like, I can't watch this. They literally set their camera up, locked it down, and turned away like, I can't watch.
But they had to like climb with him.
Yeah.
Like they're like, if you're the guy climbing, he's
Well,
like
I've
right
seen
here.
all the behind the scenes stuff,
Dude,
and I heard him talking about.
You go home
I heard Jimmy
tonight
Chin.
and watch Free Solo.
Yes, we have a list of things that we need to watch.
Oh, I've given both of them a list. Neither one of them listened.
I've heard, with all this free time that I have, Caleb.
So it looks
What
like
do you have to say about this?
most of the money
I've
shots
got a question for you still.
on Google are like drone shots. And my thing is like, it must be hard enough to climb these mountains free solo anyways. I just can't imagine like
Well, they said I remember specifically them talking about how much planning they did and how they selected people to do this, and this is part of one of the things that has listening, watching to these guys talk about the type of individuals that they use to film this stuff. Kind of made me want to like go out and get my scuba diving certification, make me go get my skydiving certification, do all these things. Because
say certification again.
I know.
Certification.
Yeah.
Did you say certification?
That's how I say it too.
Wow.
It's just a little bit easier. Maybe it's like a Western thing.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Go
ahead.
It's a Colorado thing.
But like, basically, they're saying first of all they almost turned down the project because they're like, we don't know if we want to film this because of the nature of it.
I'd love to know the budget for it. Anyway.
And then finally, Jimmy Chin was like, okay, we'll do it. And if you guys don't follow Jimmy Chin on Instagram, do it. You've probably seen. You don't. We're not going to talk about your Instagram habits.
Any of his habits.
Yeah.
Like getting up early and coming.
I mean, we're not going to mention the fact that we invited him to come to Waffle House this morning, and he just straight up refused.
I was nose deep in trying to get an edit out for a client. Thank you very much.
Oh, come on.
I was sitting right there editing.
Well, you could have hit Command Save in game and went with us.
That's literally the best thing you could hear as a boss. Like, I didn't want to go to Waffle House. I was editing.
Yeah.
You're razzing him for it.
So, anyways, follow Jimmy.
Listen to these
Chin.
losers. They'll tell you all kinds of stuff.
Follow Jimmy Chin. He's a solid source of all kinds of inspiration.
He's not great for political advice, but he's great for everything else.
But if you,
Think about this.
huh?
Go ahead. Finish what you're gonna say.
But anyways, so he talked about planning all of the shots so that, like, no cameras, nothing was in this guy's eye line, because Jimmy being, and this relates to hunting because you all probably know better than me, but like I've had to learn like how to hunt basically while I'm doing this, and there's certain things that you as a camera guy might do that you shouldn't be doing around a hunter because it ruins their concentration or messes with them or whatever. And the same thing with Jimmy Chin being a very, very accomplished climber himself, knew like how much focus and how much effort it would take for him to do this thing and how high the stakes were. And so when they were planning it, he was like, yeah, we made sure that the people on this shoot were so good we wouldn't have to worry about all of them. Alex wouldn't have to worry about any of them. And we made sure that, like, there was not cameras in his eye line. We weren't getting anywhere close to him or anything that could distract or take away from his effort. And the amount of, like, planning and skill that it would take to do that is incredible.
Oh, yeah, they go through that in the film, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's unbelievable, the undertaking that they created.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely nerve-wracking. Like, that guy, Alex Honnold, like, props to that guy. He will not live much longer. There's no way. Like, that guy's days are numbered.
Yeah.
100%.
That's fun.
Also not a good guy to listen to for political advice. Anyway, what were you saying?
Yeah, so I didn't think about this until just now, or I probably would have led with this. But so don't really know how I ended up down this rabbit hole. But so I was like, growing up, I was extremely fascinated by the Titanic.
Me too.
So
Love the Titanic.
actually, I know exactly how it
The
happened.
movie or the ship?
Both, the whole story of it. I was fascinated by it.
Okay, go ahead.
So anyways, randomly the other day on TikTok, I see like a Titanic meme, and that was like just sparked this thing, and I was like, I want to go like watch something about the Titanic. So I ended up going down this rabbit hole of like all these basically every Titanic documentary that was on Nat Geo and on Discovery that I could find. And then what it led me to was the movie, of course. So I
haven't
rewatched
seen that movie in a long time.
Never seen it.
Really?
Doesn't surprise me.
Surprises me for many reasons. I feel like every man has seen Titanic.
Yeah, for one reason and
For
one reason
a
only.
singular reason.
Yes.
Because it was the biggest ship at the time, and it hit an iceberg and sank.
No.
Or Kate Winslet,
Kate Winslet back when she was
23.
worth looking at.
I mean, that's fine. We'll just we won't
Anyways,
get into any more specifics about that. If you
The
don't know, then you don't need to know.
The reason that I brought that up is because I realized that it was directed by James Cameron, who also directed another one of my favorite films, which was Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me kind of dig into some of the stuff that he did, and I watched some stuff of behind the scenes of them shooting it. And both of those films, in my opinion, were extremely ahead of their time for how they shot it and like what they shot. Because I didn't realize that Titanic was shot the same year that I was born, so 1997.
God, I'm
Or
old.
that's when it was released. It was actually shot before that. So to see the quality of it and how they put it together, and like them like going the effort that they went into to build the set and like do the research and development that it took to put that film together is like
the only way you do something like that's with a big checkbook.
Yep.
Real big checkbook.
James Cameron has always been like that. Like, he's always pushing the envelope. That's what he was doing with Avatar. Like, it took, however, I'm pretty sure that's like the next thing he did after Titanic, wasn't it? And it took him freaking forever.
Yeah, it took him like almost 10 years.
Because they had to literally develop the technology from scratch to do that.
Well, that's the same
And
way
now
they started.
he's working on something else that's crazy right
Well,
now.
they're trying
Same,
to build
same way they
another
did Star
Avatar.
Wars. I mean, that's how Star Wars started.
Mhm.
Star Wars wasn't a movie as much as it was a technology company on how to create the special effects.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know?
So it was just really, really cool to like, the pre-production of it is what was like really intense to me because I'm like, my videos have a max of like 2 hours of pre-production.
Well,
Sit down, kind of like look at
well,
other videos that I
and
want to mimic.
some videos don't need any more than 2 hours, but like Bluestem, I bet combined we did almost a week or 2 weeks of pre-production. We shot it in 7 days, but we took 2 weeks to plan it.
Yeah.
But if we wouldn't have planned it, it would have taken way longer than 7 days to shoot it,
It wouldn't have been
and
as
I
good.
still don't think it would have been as good. But here's my question.
So you don't like the Titanic? You don't like the movie?
That's okay.
It is pretty long.
So here's my question.
Huh.
I don't know. I might not should ask this because you said that 1917 was so predictable. What do you think is going to happen in this new Top Gun film?
It doesn't count. It's Top Gun.
Well, see, the problem is...
Do you think Tom Cruise lives through Top Gun?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
What do you don't think so?
I don't know.
Look, the thing...
I'm not a Top Gun aficionado, so I don't know.
The thing is, they can't kill Maverick because...
They can absolutely
They
kill.
can.
They can kill anybody. In a movie.
No, I feel like it
They
goes
kill
against the
Goose.
whole ethos of the series.
That's why
If
they
you're
could
gonna-
do it.
If you're gonna completely end Top Gun to where there's never gonna be another, which you can't without Tom Cruise because he's 900 years old.
He can retire. They'll
can-
retire him.
Okay.
He'll actually retire, or he... I almost think what's going to happen is...
Then Miles Teller is gonna be the new Top Gun.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's only one Top Gun.
First of all...
Goose is dead.
What if he comes back?
No.
What if he comes back?
That would be insane.
The Top Gun multiverse.
Yeah. I think that it's probably more likely that Maverick ends up, because in the first movie you witness the progression of Maverick from a big braggadocious, I can do anything I want by myself, I don't care about anybody else, into
$2 word. Go ahead. Braggadocious, but go ahead.
Oh yeah,
But can't say certificate.
certificate.
Okay, you said it correctly that time.
No, but certificate wasn't the word. It was certification.
Certification.
And now you
Sorry.
can see when you say certificate
Certification.
why I would say certification instead of certification.
No, we can't. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Whatever. Into a team player who has lost some of his selfishness and is kind of playing by the rules, right? So I feel like that continues to an extent. I think that somehow they're going to have to make a conflict for him. And I think the conflict from the trailers is that he wants to fly. He doesn't want to be a paper pusher. He wants to fly because they've said, we can't promote you anymore, this, that, and the other in all the trailers. And he's still flying, and he's literally gotten to the point where it's he has done the most flying you can do and has probably become one of the most decorated pilots in the Navy. And he's going to have to pass his torch onto somebody else, a younger pilot, and resign himself to the fact that his time has come to get out of the cockpit, and he's got to be a grown up now. He can't go play with planes anymore. He's got to be an officer. He's got to be part of the leadership, and I think that's his character development. And I don't think you can't kill him. What's killing him going to do?
You send in the Russians, and he fights the Russians to the
But-
death. And it
But
ends.
you've seen Top Gun, and there's no way they would do that because it's not even close
Have
to.
you seen Game of Thrones?
But that's an entirely different thing.
No, it's not.
Top Gun-
Game of Thrones taught people that you can kill anybody at any time and make a better story.
But I don't. What? Okay, what's your story? They kill Tom Cruise. What is it?
I don't think they kill him. They let him go to the end, and he gets in a firefight, in a dogfight at the very end of the film, and you don't know whether he lives or dies.
To make a third one?
No, to just nobody knows.
That would be horrific.
I'm saying
And I would
Hashtag
hate
Inception.
that.
there would be more.
There is nothing in this world that I hate more
Season 8 of Game of Thrones, buddy. Welcome to my world.
than unresolved cliffhangers. Don't do that. I hate
Just saying,
it.
it's very possible.
And all the movies that I like have them too.
Yep.
Really? Like
Yeah.
Why do
what?
you like them?
I don't know.
All three
'cause
movies you've seen. What are they?
I'm just saying that
They
a
all
lot of
Christopher Nolan
movies that I
films.
really enjoy that have the
Clay, you could be a
suspense-
part of this conversation if you've ever seen anything.
Never seen
the
Top Gun.
suspense and
almighty.
the like kind of the mentally thrilling movies always like leave you in this gray area. And I immediately always have to go and Google it and be like, what are the theories? Because I need to know something. I need to know something. Because I hate that. I hate the unresolved plot points and things of that nature. It's terrible to me.
Yeah. Huh.
But they're not, I don't think that they killed Top Gun.
I don't think they do either.
I also hope that this doesn't turn into like a Marvel universe. Like that would be the worst thing ever because
Turns
I
into like
know
a Fast and the Furious franchise of Top Gun.
I'm already nervous.
They can't afford to do it.
I'm already nervous that it's not going to be as good and it's just going to be at like a low quality ripoff.
It can't be a low quality ripoff. They spent way too much money on it.
I'm hoping. Well, yeah, you'd think that. But
how much was the budget so far? Like $1 billion or something stupid?
A lot.
A lot. I'd like to just get paid what they paid in fuel for the jets. And I'd be sitting pretty.
All I know is I'm still a little nervous for it. I really hope that they don't ruin the Top Gun right now. If you didn't make a Top Gun 2 is perfect legacy. It's fine. I don't need a Top Gun 2. I'm perfectly happy with a singular Top Gun and everything that happens in there.
Oh, man. So, okay, what's your second favorite movie? We obviously know Top Gun's your favorite. What's your second favorite movie?
I told you I have different categories of movies.
Oh, God.
There's
You have a template for that, or?
No, but I do have a notes on my phone and also a sticky note because I want posters in my office. So Top Gun sits alongside.
Okay, so if you had to put posters in your office, what are you putting posters of? That's probably a better answer.
Top Gun.
Oh, well, duh. I've already made you a Top Gun poster, so go ahead.
Okay. Napoleon Dynamite
Oh, God.
and The Sandlot.
Sandlot's a great movie.
Okay.
The Sandlot because it's a timeless classic. I love The Sandlot. I watched it repeatedly growing up, and I really identified with the great Hambino because he's a chubby ginger. Me too. Played catcher. Me too. Last name is Porter. Me too. Also, he's kind of a smartass. Me too. He really likes snacks. Me too. Okay? He's literally my spirit animal. And then I like Napoleon Dynamite for the absurd humor. You guys know I'm weird. You know I'm absurd.
I couldn't get into Napoleon Dynamite.
And I love the absurdity of Napoleon Dynamite.
So those are the only three?
And honestly, I feel like you can take things away from all of those movies if you wanted to.
Take what away from?
Yeah, the life that you spent watching it.
I think The Sandlot is great just because you can take away like storytelling and how like it's a pretty easy story to tell. It's a very simple story, but
Those are the best ones, though, are the simple ones.
yeah, and all like you fall in love with the characters, you love the story, and you can watch like I would watch that on TV anytime. If that comes on, I'm watching it. Same thing with Top Gun. I would watch it anytime. Napoleon Dynamite, watch it every time.
Well, same thing with me. Like when I cannot find anything to watch, I start Newsroom over again.
I watched the series for me is Psych.
Have you?
Yeah, I watched Psych, and it was okay.
I mean, I wouldn't if you're like, hey, Ryer, what show should I watch? I wouldn't recommend Psych to you. Because you kind of have to be weird like me to enjoy Psych because it's that odd kind of like weird humor.
It is, and it's got some funny parts, but it just.
Have you seen Hot Rod?
Yeah.
I feel like
I love Hot Rod.
okay.
I've never seen Hot Rod. I've never even heard of Hot Rod.
Cinematic masterpiece.
Oh God.
It's not, but it's so funny. I feel like there's almost like two genres of comedy that happened at the same time. And you've got like the Talladega Nights comedy, and then you've got like Hot Rod comedy. And they're almost kind of the same, but like a little different. Because Talladega Nights is just
Like adult humor.
like
kind
adult humor. And then you've got Hot Rod, which is
See,
like
I
this
put it with,
awkward, weird kind of humor.
I put it with Napoleon Dynamite.
Hot Rod?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same kind of genre of humor. So it's basically like, and it's almost
It's
like
Andy Samberg. I don't know
Yeah.
if you
Oh, I know who Andy Samberg is.
so it's kind
Brooklyn
of that
Nine-Nine.
awkward.
Lonely Island Band.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is hilarious. I
I
love
think
Brooklyn
you've never
Nine-Nine.
seen Hot Rod.
Never even heard of it.
I'm so surprised by this.
Where's it? Where was it at?
What do you mean? Where was it at?
Like, where did it air?
It's as a movie.
Oh, it's a movie. Oh,
You've never. Yeah, that's great. Have you ever seen? What's the one about the? What's the other one? Oh, it's not Hot Rod. Is it? Is it Hot? No. McLovin.
Oh, Superbad.
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 Yeah,
It's
I've
like
seen-
the same kind of movie. It's
I've
very.
seen
I would say
Superbad.
they're pretty similar in style.
Superbad is extremely like graphic though.
Yeah,
Hot Rod has some like cheesy has some like
it's mostly just
cheesy
awkward.
dirty humor, but it's mostly
We're
awkward.
talking about cinematography and like character development. We're talking about stupid comedies. Like, well,
Austin
why
Powers.
Is
is
there?
this? Austin Powers is
Do
good.
you think? Do you think there's a place?
I love Austin Powers.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
See, I haven't seen that. and I
Let's
really
paint this
need to.
you gold.
You haven't seen Austin Powers?
No.
Yeah, I can't believe you have seen Austin Powers.
Well, I've seen Caddyshack. They
Well, you
kinda go-
only watch comedies. Why don't you watch anything else? What's the deal?
I don't
See?
know.
I think you do it just to piss us
Can we go back
off.
to talking about Ryder?
God.
He can't hang. You can give
Oh,
me crap
yes,
all day.
Devin,
Clay
Devin,
gets
I have
peppered.
seen Eastbound and Down. Danny McBride is the man. Eastbound and Down is hilarious.
What's that one?
Eastbound and Down. It's about it's about Danny McBride, about how he's a washed-up baseball player who's playing in like the Mexican leagues. It is freaking great.
Really?
It's adult humor for sure.
You're a baseball guy, right?
Yeah, was.
What'd you think about Moneyball?
Loved it.
I like Moneyball a lot. Yeah.
Because it was more about baseball, and it was or less about baseball and more
Yeah.
about how baseball was governed.
Best baseball movie. Go. Your favorite baseball movie?
The Sandlot. If you say anything else, you're wrong.
Not The Sandlot.
No,
It is.
Not The Sandlot.
probably Major League
Major
or
League's up.
Moneyball.
No. To me, it's For the Love of the Game. But
Field of
that's
Dreams?
the second. That's the second best movie. There's only one best baseball movie of all time.
Benchwarmers.
No. Bull Durham.
Okay,
good
yeah,
one.
Bull Durham. Yeah.
Bull Durham's the greatest
Way
baseball
more-
movie ever
yeah,
made.
It is better than Major League.
The greatest baseball game movie ever made.
What about greatest sports movie?
You know what I watched the other day again that I really liked? I wouldn't put this as the best sports movie, but it's also another Kevin Costner. It's Draft Day. Have you ever seen Draft Day?
Mm.
So it's Kevin Costner's the GM of the Cleveland Browns, and it's essentially all takes place in one day, and it's Draft Day, and it's like how he takes his role as the executive about drafting players and what he gets and how he moves the chess pieces around to get the best players. Really good.
I've seen it.
Really freaking good.
It all takes place in one day.
Yep.
So I imagine there's a bunch of like flashbacks and jumping around and like
Not really. Mm-mm.
Just-
Not really at all.
Yeah.
jump back and forth between characters a lot. So parallel timelines.
They jump to other characters, but the only time they jump to other characters is when he's on the phone with them. It's centered around Kevin Costner's character the whole time.
Interesting.
It's almost
really
like a
good.
day in the life movie.
The
Draft
best sports movie of all time, in my opinion, has got to be
Blindside.
no,
We Are Marshall.
no.
Safety.
Mm-mm.
Silver Linings
It's not even a sports movie. Everybody else give theirs. I really got to think about this. 'Cause
Smokey and the Bandit.
that's not a sports movie.
Oh gosh.
To me, it's
No matter what any of us say, it's going to be wrong if it's not the
No,
same as
it's
Caleb.
not the
so
same-
I'm not even
not
saying
tr-
anything.
it's not true.
You know what this is? This is like when I'm with my wife and I'm like, "What do you want to eat?" She's like, "I don't know." Okay, McDonald's? No.
No.
Whataburger?
No.
Mexican food? No.
No.
That's
Yeah,
what's
it's exactly
happening
what
right
it's
now.
to me,
It's tough. There's a lot of good ones.
it's Remember the Titans.
It's a good one. Very good. Very good.
To me, it's Remember the Titans for sure. If you have to put, is that or? Yeah, I think it's Remember the Titans.
What do you got?
Remember the Titans or We Are Marshall? I like We Are Marshall.
I haven't seen We Are Marshall in a long time. I know it's good, but or Rudy. Rudy's a really good sports movie too.
My top two are either Rudy or Invincible.
Invincible. Which one? Remind me of Invincible. I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
Invincible is the one where the guy goes and tries out and walks onto the Eagles.
Oh yeah. That
Oh,
one's
no,
pretty good.
Caddyshack's up there.
You can walk on a pro ball.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you can go try
Go
out.
try out.
I think the plot of it, so it's been a while since I've watched it, but it's Mark Wahlberg. Of course, he's playing the same character he usually does.
I think his Mark Wahlberg's like 3 feet tall. How could he play in the NFL?
So it's a 2006 sports drama, obviously, based on the true story of Vince Papale, who played for the Philadelphia Eagles from 1976 to 1978.
Oh, you're an Eagles fan too.
With
so.
the help of his coach, Dick Vermeil. The film was released basically he goes and tries to, I believe, like, they need players, and so they hold this open tryouts, and he's like, he's been playing at a night league and just destroying everybody, and he keeps holding on to this dream, like he wants to walk onto the Eagles. It's all he's ever wanted to do. And people are like, man, you got to let it go. You got to get a real job. You got to quit doing this, got to quit doing that. And he walks on and finally, like, is given a chance.
Yeah.
And I think it's crazy when you think about sports movies. Like, they almost have very similar stories to each other. Like, all of the movies that we all listed as the greatest sports movies of all time, in our opinion, like, if you really just boil them down, they have a very similar message, a very similar story, but, like, you can watch those again and again and again and again and again.
100%.
And you can watch this one and that one and that one and that one, and you never feel like, oh, man, it's that movie again. Like, every single time you watch it, you feel that same emotion, which is crazy.
Yeah, well, like we said, the use of the simplest stories are the best ones. For sure. That's all I got. Got anything else?
Greatest comedy of all time.
Oh, that's really
Dante's
hard.
Inferno. The Divine Comedy. Never mind.
You
That's
could tell
tough.
who was nerds because I understood what he was saying. That's a high-level nerd joke.
It's okay. If you ever read through the Divine Comedy, it's legit, like, crazy. Anyways,
Oh, you have to read it?
yeah.
It's
I don't know. Is
no
there
chance.
a
No
is there like
chance.
I'm sure there's
Clay,
some
how many
kind of-
books have you read?
Start like cover to cover,
Yes.
0.
Okay, that's all. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, Dante's Inferno is what do they call it? An epic poem. It's
Nope.
one of the first
Yep.
epics,
Yep.
and it was written by it's Homer, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I've read
Oh,
Dante's
no. It
Inferno,
was
but it's
written
been
by like
college.
Dante. Some. This was written by the guy. I think this is all the way back to freshman year of high school.
Yeah,
But
I'm having to like turn
Yeah.
some gears here.
I'm really like going for it. But I think Homer's epics were based on the format that this guy laid down, and it's old. But basically, it's about this guy's journey into hell,
Yeah.
and so it's all about like
The different levels.
the
of
different
hell.
levels of hell
Yeah, I
and all this.
remember.
It's got a lot. It's the second most referenced piece of literature behind the Bible.
Yeah.
And
can't pronounce the
it's
second
like
name.
this thick. It's super dense and hard to get through. But like, if the joke is, now that we've beat it to crap, it is labeled a comedy, the same way that like a lot of Greek plays and stuff like that, they're called comedies, and we would look at it and go, oh, that's not funny. But comedy had a completely different meaning, and has a completely different meaning in that
Yeah.
context.
And like, in the Divine Comedy, it's a series of 3, and they're all like that long. The Dante's Inferno, or the Inferno, is actually the name of it. Is the first one, and it's the most famous one. And then the Purgatorio, and then the Paradiso. So it's like, yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, haven't read those.
it's really, really crazy.
Hold on. I'm trying to find the definition of comedy.
Comedy I
Versus
could watch
tragedy.
over and over again
So-
is probably
So according to this, which is just talking about Greek drama, right? The first comedies were mainly satirical and mocked men in power for their vanity and foolishness. The first master of comedy was the playwright Aristophanes. Much later, Menander wrote comedies about ordinary people and made his plays more like sitcoms.
going through the live stream, so funny.
And a tragedy, which is like, if most of us would look at a lot of what they call comedies, be like, oh, that seems like it would be labeled a tragedy.
Yeah.
A tragedy dealt with the big themes of love, loss, pride, and the abuse of power, and the fraught relationship between men and gods.
Which is basically like a drama.
Typically, the main protagonist of a tragedy commits some terrible crime without realizing
Wow,
how
we've
foolish
really
he has
down
been.
one rabbit hole with a simple
Then he
question.
slowly realizes
Somebody who watches this podcast and learn how to shoot deer film is like,
what? And that's y'all's fault for bringing me on here. So what is the actual like funny comedy number one of
For
all
me?
time? Yeah,
oh god, I don't like comedies.
What?
No, I can't stand them.
lies.
No, I promise. If
What?
I had to watch one, gosh.
Hold on a minute. You can't just make a statement like that. How can you,
You
not
can't just
like
act
a
like
comedy?
you didn't just say what you just said.
Listen, listen. If I've got an hour or like 2 hours to watch something, I would 10 times rather watch something that's gonna make me like that's gonna hit me hard in the feels.
Well,
or,
I
like,
would too, but I
then watch
still
something
love a
like-
comedy.
Okay, I'll tell you this. I've seen. Okay, so there's. I guess these will be sitcoms. I've seen The Office all the way through several times, and then How I Met Your Mother. I've seen those. I've seen those all the way through. But I don't really like care for comedy movies or.
All right, moving on. I know that's the only thing Clay's seen. So what's your favorite?
There's way too many.
That's literally the only thing Clay will watch. He will if it hits him in the feels. Like he's like, eh.
Feelings, what are these?
The movie was terrible. It made me cry.
There's, well, I don't know, because there's different types of comedy. There's like,
Oh God, here now
Just
you're doing
pick
what
one.
Ryer
I'm
does.
not gonna go into it. I'm not gonna
Freaking
diabolize.
nerd.
Well, there's this kind, and
I'm
then
not gonna
there's this
dissect
kind,
them.
and then there's
I mean,
well,
Don't
'cause there's-
steal my brand.
There's, I'm not as organized as you. I don't have a template for it, so I can't just like roll them off. but
Nobody else knows.
There's
why we
like
keep
there's the
referencing
Talladega
templates.
Nights. There's the Talladega Nights or Step Brother type stuff, and then you've got the Austin Powers, Joe Dirt.
If you were locked in a prison cell and you can only have one movie, what is it?
Which could happen, by the way.
the Austin Powers series of movies.
One
I don't know.
movie.
Yeah, that's
You freaking cheater.
What have you seen?
pick one of them.
Gold member.
I was about to say it's got to be Goldmember, dude. Freaking love that movie.
I need to watch
Oh
It's
God, it's
Austin
so
Powers Faja.
father.
You freaky Dutch.
it. Caleb, yours?
Oh, probably Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh gosh, yes. Nobody has ever seen that.
Oh my God,
Do you know
I
how
love
many
that
times I've
movie.
referenced that, and people have never seen it?
Did you say Abe Lincoln or Abe Lincoln?
My
Have you
God,
seen
the opening to that movie
Have you seen
is
the
so
Key,
fantastic.
Have you seen the Key and Peele that they did to that?
No.
Oh, I'll have to find it and send you that
No,
link. It's
God
hilarious.
dang.
They
You say
call me
Abe-
Little John, but don't be fooled. I'm actually quite large.
Help! I can't swim. God, that's a good one, man.
Or just all the song breakouts. Oh,
Do you
my
know
gosh,
another?
so hilarious.
You know another excellent series of movies that's like Austin Powers that I just love is freaking Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Holy crap, they're good,
I
man.
was watching those the
What?
other day.
Dude, they're
I
so
want to
good.
beat my head into a wall. And
Virtually,
found Captain Rinker. That's the stupidest thing I've ever.
but that's why it's so funny. Oh
He
my
even did the
God.
face.
Ace,
Oh,
Ven-
the face is
Ace
fantastic.
Ventura, man, is the freaking man. That's a good
What's
movie.
yours?
I just can't stand him.
Chicago. Chicago.
Jim Carrey's ability to act and be funny physically
Yeah.
is unrivaled by only one other actor, and that would be Robin Williams. Those
So-
two individuals'
so this is
ability
gonna
to
be a
act
2-hour podcast.
kinetically
So
is insane.
do you know, in my opinion, Robin Williams was the most underrated actor to ever walk this earth?
100%.
I can get behind
He
100%.
was incredible.
His ability to literally
So-
play anybody.
I watched him again in Dead Poet Society
Oh
the
my
other
gosh.
day.
Yes.
Dude, he's so freaking good. And then Good Morning Vietnam, he's good. But the movie he shines the most in, what was it? I watched it the other day.
Not Flubber.
Meet the
No,
Fockers.
not Flubber.
I love
Not
Flubber.
no.
But Flubber
Um,
is very good.
No, Flubber was not good. Flubber doesn't come into the conversation.
Meet the Fockers.
He was in Peter Pan. He was awesome in Peter Pan. What was the movie that he
What was it about?
in?
Was it the math one?
Dead Poet Society? No.
Googling and
Oh, Goodwill Hunting.
Oh,
That's the math one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said. I didn't
Yeah,
I didn't
math.
didn't compute that. Yeah, Goodwill Hunting. He is so freaking good in that movie.
He is on, like, whenever
He's on another level.
like a celebrity dies, usually I'm like, oh man, that's sad. When Robin Williams died, I was genuinely like sad for a day.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, we're never going to get any more Robin Williams masterpieces.
And not only was he an incredible actor in either comedies or dramas, amazing comedian.
His stand-up comedy is incredible.
Incredible.
And
Like that he was an absolute gift.
and so vulgar.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Dude, the
Like
best
you would
stand-
think, oh, I'm gonna go look up Robin Williams. This would be some nice little children
No,
comedy.
no.
It's not.
He
Best-
had an entire sketch on genitalia.
Yeah, the best sketch he did was on how they invented golf. That's my favorite.
If for no other reason than how he says the F word that entire
Yes,
time.
yes, 100%. That's such a great. Robin Williams to me is top shelf acting, just gold.
If you haven't watched any of Robin Williams stuff, you have to.
Yeah,
You have to.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
110 credits is what he's got on IMDb.
Really? How many Emmys does he have?
He was in Happy Feet.
Yeah. He was the
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah.
Night at the Museum.
Yeah.
That's a slept-on movie. Night at the Museum. I really, really enjoy those. Whatever. You
Is
guys.
that Ben Stiller?
Whatever, you
August
guys.
Rush. August Rush. Did you guys see that movie?
No.
You remember that one?
No.
That was a really good one. It's a musical movie. House of D. Don't know what it is, but that's a funny name for a movie. Let's see.
Tenacious D.
Tenacious
Oh,
D.
Jack
School
Black.
of Rock.
Patch
Jack Black.
Adams.
Problem is Jack Black can only play Jack Black.
That's the good.
See, that's my thing. There's certain actors out there. I love Jack Black, but you couldn't put Jack Black in a Robin Williams style. Like you couldn't do what Robin Williams does.
Vince Vaughn's another one like that
Hook.
too.
Yeah.
So I saw a thing on TikTok the other day. Vince Vaughn is in a serious drama called Brawl in Precinct 99 or something. Apparently he's really good in it. I want to watch it just because of that. He plays a serious role.
It's
He's
a
like
movie?
he's like a bald-headed like enforcer guy. Yeah, I want to see it. I
You
think
know
it's
what?
Brawl on something 99.
I'll tell you a comedy. There's one comedy that I actually adore.
What is that?
Mr. Deeds with Adam Sandler.
It's solid. It's not.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Well,
You haven't seen Mr. Deeds?
it's
I don't
more of a
know.
nostalgic thing because
Yeah,
I've watched it ever since like I was.
This is the 25th anniversary of Happy Gilmore, if anyone cares.
Dang,
2021
that
is.
long ago? Happy Gilmore's a great one.
It is.
Adam Sandler, except for Uncut Gems, was great. Hated Uncut Gems.
Which one was
And I
that?
think what
That's the new drama he did. It was terrible.
the thing that I did like about Uncut Gems is, again, I think, like you said, with a lot of these actors, they develop a brand and they get pigeonholed into this brand. I think, like, he did a really good job in that movie.
Yeah.
And I hope that for him, it lets him break out of the Adam Sandler comedy
I don't.
role.
That's why I want to watch Adam Sandler. I will go to the movie theater to watch Adam Sandler be Adam
Assuming
Sandler.
it's going to be a
Yeah.
comedy, yeah.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of like Vince Vaughn. Like, I assume Vince Vaughn's going to be the guy that Vince Vaughn is in all the movies.
Or Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
but at
Will
a certain
Ferrell, yeah.
point, it becomes
Anchorman.
it's just like the same thing over and over again. And I like to see a little bit of variety.
Jim Carrey, he tried and failed miserably, in my opinion. I just didn't like him in whatever that movie, that crazy like mind bending movie he did.
Just recently?
Something Spotless Mind or whatever it was.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's not very good.
I never got to say my favorite comedy, guys.
What's your favorite? Oh, sorry. God bless.
Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, you can't say that nowadays though.
This is my shooting name.
I think Blazing Saddles is funny because, and I would label it my favorite comedy because of its ability to make as many jokes as it did, and they're all like under there. There's a few that like they just punch you right in the face with the joke,
Yeah,
but there's a lot of jokes that are just like under the surface, and they're just really subtle, and it's hilarious.
yeah,
And I think it's a fantastic movie.
yeah. There's yeah, for sure.
Also, Gene Wilder is incredible.
Yeah.
Really good.
All right, I think that's all we got. We've been doing this for an hour and a half.
We wrapping up already?
We're wrapping up.
Bro, Jocko goes for like 5 hours.
Yeah, well, we're not Jocko. We actually have other stuff to do, which I'm sure he does too. But all right,
Better cut that out.
Yeah.
You better not let
let's
Jocko
edit
get a
that
hold of
out.
that.
Jocko, bring it, Jocko. Come to the
Better
office.
stuff to do.
Please don't.
Please
come to the
don't.
office.
I don't
All
want
right.
any part of that.
Peace.
If you guys see that, the battery is flashing on the camera. That's really funny. All right. Well, if you're on the live, see you guys later. Goodbye.